A big day for the South African Airways after being grounded for a year and a half. The very first flight is expected to take off any moment now. eNCA's reporter Heidi Giokos is on the viewing deck at OR Tambo International Airport, and she joins us now to give us that very update. Heidi, has it officially taken off? I know any moment now we should be hearing that flight is en route to Cape Town. Good morning, Heidi. Are you with us?
8:05. Yes, I am. Tumelo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, Heidi. You may continue.
Okay, great. So we do understand that the flight is expected to take off at around 8:05. We're going to stick with these visuals so we can just show you when the plane starts taxiing and taking off. This will be the tarmac that SAA will be taking off on after 500 days of not flying. So we're going to stick with these visuals. But a very exciting day, not just for the crew and SAA staff, but also for South Africans. Many have indicated to us that they've been waiting for a while for SAA to start flying again, and quite an interesting and touching story. We spoke to a 21-year-old who said that he had saved up his money to fly today, and he was literally just going to take the first flight out of Johannesburg to Cape Town, and then he says that he actually wants to be a pilot and he wasn't going to miss it for the world, and he had been waiting in anticipation for this day. Let's perhaps listen to what he had to say to us earlier on.
Sure, I'll tell you a bit about myself. I'm 21, I study at the University of Pretoria. I'm a pilot myself, and I'm a huge fan of South African Airways. I mean, I grew up with this airline. I've always wanted to work and fly for the airline, so I was quite heartbroken when SAA stopped flying, and yeah, I only fly SAA within South Africa, and I just thought, let me see and fly SAA when they came back, so I took the opportunity. And as soon as I saw them, I fought tooth and nail to get on this flight because they kept telling me that no, it's fully booked. And I said, SAA, I'm going to be on that flight. So I begged them and they said, yeah, no, you can come fly with us. And I'm just so privileged to be here.
I think this is a fantastic story for South African Airways, for the aviation industry in South Africa and the African continent. SAA has to succeed for our industry to survive. We are hopeful that the vision that they've embarked upon will come to fruition. We want it to become a profitable airline, that the airline should grow, create jobs, and then ensure that the aviation industry in this country thrives. Yeah.
Right. First of all, I'm a big supporter of things in your own country, so SAA is my choice of flight if I have to fly somewhere. And I'm exceptionally glad for everyone that they are flying again, and I do hope it will be to all destinations very soon.
I'm just excited. I mean, it's an airline that I've always been traveling with. So I'm just happy and excited that I'm going to be the first passenger.
Right, and you?
Yeah, SAA has always been the best airline to fly with. So we figured, let's give it a try again. Hopefully this time around everything is perfect.
I mean, the sentiments there shared, Heidi, by, South Africans, even the pilot who studied at the University of Pretoria. Now, that explains why we saw the singing and dancing, because there were dreams as well on the line here. People that looked up to SAA, wanted to work with SAA, such as the young professional that you had a chance to speak to.
Yes, certainly, and I think the crew have gone through the most, especially because of the COVID-19 pandemic and what it's done to aviation. And at the same time, SAA was under business rescue, and it was virtually impossible to fly commercially. They did a few repatriation flights, but the crew and the chief pilots indicating that they are ecstatic to be flying again. Tumelo, before we listen to what the chief pilot said, I just want to make sure that we do not miss that shot of the SAA flight taking off. It seems as though it will be taking off in a few minutes, but perhaps let's just listen to what the chief pilot had to say to us today with regards to being excited to be back in that cockpit again and to be flying once again after not being able to fly for over 18 months. Let's perhaps listen to the chief pilot.
The sense of pride that we feel today is amazing. We'd like to thank South Africans for believing in us. We'd like to thank our families that have supported us during those difficult times.
And we'd like to thank for all the people that have just come from different areas who come and said, we miss you guys, you've made a difference in our lives, and realizing how much we actually contributed to job creation amongst the youth and creating economical wealth in terms of the job created. So a lot of people are very happy to see us. But most of all, we are very proud to have been chosen to be amongst the first few to make this happen. And I'd like to say to you that I'm very proud to be with these ladies and gentlemen that you see here. They have worked very hard to get back to where we are and to making sure that we are upholding the standards that South African Airways is known for, and that is being safety first and representing Ubuntu in the skies and flying the South African flag high.
Heidi, I mean, as we anticipate, of course, that very first flight to take off and head to Cape Town, reminds me of a conversation that I just had right now with Shelley van der Westhuizen from Alexander Forbes around retrenchment. And when I see, you know, those men and women in uniform, our cabin crews that make sure that we land safely to our destinations, I can only imagine the emotional, you know, journey they've been through leading up to today and witnessing, of course, today, that first flight heading over to Cape Town. What was that conversation like when you had with them?
Yes, certainly. I think it's been quite an emotional ride and journey for many SAA staff, given the fact that many of them have been retrenched. We understand that SAA had a staff complement of over 4,000, and we understand that now it's just under 1,000 staff members at SAA. Many coming to us and saying to us that this is a moment they have been waiting for, and they almost thought it was not going to happen because of how business rescue was emerging and because of SAA needing more money from the government fiscus. But of course, it's a moment that they are very proud of. They say they've worked very hard. They've needed to, of course, go back and do some training as they had not been working or flying for about 18 months. So it's been very difficult for them, and of course it's important to highlight the fact that SAA is emerging, what many would call it as version 2 of SAA, is emerging a lot smaller. They are starting with regional flights. Here in South Africa it will be Johannesburg to Cape Town, and then to a few African countries such as Accra, Lusaka, Harare, and a number of other countries on the African continent. And as soon as demand picks up, Tumelo, they are expecting to fly to that popular route that they are known for, the New York, Johannesburg, New York route. So they are planning to increase capacity, but of course they'll need to get aircraft for that, because after having over 40 aircraft and a massive fleet, they are now down to just under 10 aircraft. So it's a lot smaller, and this is why, of course, you're seeing a lot less staff as well. But here on this viewing deck, I don't want to move over from the shot, but lots of SAA staff members here waiting for that moment to see that tail, that South African tail in the sky again after not flying for 18 months. It's a moment for them that they have been waiting for, and we do understand that flight might be slightly delayed, but we do understand that it's expected to take off in the next few minutes.
Those live visuals coming in from OR Tambo International Airport. It's 10 minutes after 8 a.m., a few minutes delayed. That's the flight that we're expecting to see. SAA making its way en route to Cape Town. Heidi, I'll have to leave it there for now, but we'll be sure to come back to you should there be other developments around this flight. We understand it's slightly delayed at this moment, but it should be making its very first trip to Cape Town. We understand it will be its first of 3 daily trips. That's SAA taking off today. It's open up to the rest of the continent, including Ghana, in Accra, Nigeria. Unfortunately, that route not having opened at this moment due to travel restrictions that have to do with the impact of COVID-19. But as SAA, of course, tries to recover and make way to other routes, starting domestically, though, in Cape Town. That's the flight we're expecting to take off any moment from now.